It's a beautiful night here in the Gateway City, and why not a sweep? The Cardinals have been outstanding during this homestand. It is game number 3 between the Milwaukee Brewers and the St. Louis Cardinals. Welcome to Cardinals Baseball. That's Rick Horton. I'm Dan McLaughlin. The Cardinals, again, 25 games above the 500 mark. And when you think about this homestand, it has been dominant in just about every way.
They've been perfect so far. When you think about all phases of the game of baseball, you need hitting, you need defense, but starting pitching can control the destiny of a team more than anything. And the Cardinals starters have had a very good string here this homestand.
When we come back, we'll take a better look at what took place last night. Clutch home run yet again from Matt Adams. And also another young guy is contributing as we go along, and that is Joe Kelly. A look at those two as he gets the start tonight. Next. Late. Well, how about Matt Adams? When he hits a home run, they usually really matter in the game. 6 through 9 innings. He has got 7 home runs. He did it, Rick, again late last night.
And his last 4 have come in the 8th inning or later. Last night, he did it against a left-hander. Mike Gonzalez throws one down central, 108.4 miles an hour off the bat of Matt Adams. You may hold him down for a couple of at-bats, Dan, but you can't count him out any night. Joe Kelly has been terrific as a Cardinals starter. He has won 8 straight decisions. In fact, 8-1 as a starter, 2.06 ERA. He has been very solid for Mike Matheny.
Joe Kelly looking for win number 9. Tyler Thornburg, we saw him at the end of last season. He is 1-1. He'll get the start for the Milwaukee Brewers. Cards Brewers coming up.
the middle base hit.
Back-to-back Ks for Adam Wainwright. At the track, at the wall, a grand slam. Waino goes the distance.
Good pitch on the inside corner. And a swing and a miss. Costa to Carpenter. On the first double play.
Being way dead. A race to the plate. Got him.
And he is safe at the plate.
Swing and a miss. How about that? Strikes out the side and picks up a big win for the Cardinals.
.399th overall pick in the 2009 draft. A long shot. An afterthought. 5 years later, after redefining his game, he started to rewrite the Redbird record books. Never played second base before? No problem. Never hit leadoff before? No problem. How about leading the league in hits, runs, and double plays turned? No problem. He's gone from reserve to renown. He can set the table, and he can clear it. He is the human rally.
Carpenter, deep right, at the wall, gone! The All-Star puts the Cardinals on top, and a charge into that baby. Two-run shot for Carpenter.
Some say the Carpenter is only as good as his tools. Fortunately for Matt Carpenter, he's got plenty of great tools to choose from. Whether it's working the count, drilling a double into the gap, or turning yet another double play, Carpenter has built himself a season to remember.
brought to you by DraftMark Home Tap System. Fresh draft beer by Budweiser, and it's available from your fridge. See your Mid-America Chevy dealer or log on to stlchevy.com. Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 for quality tires and expert auto service. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by Steak and Shake, just no equal. Beautiful night here in St. Louis as we turn to Rick Horton's Toyota keys to the game.
Well, key number 1 is for Joe Kelly to stay the course. He's been so good. Don't change anything. Just keep doing what you've been doing. Joe Kelly really got this rotation turned around in his last start. Number 2, press the advantage early on offense. The last 2 nights, the Cardinals no hit for 5 2/3 innings. Don't play around. Just go right after him. Keep this team down. Milwaukee really struggling here in this series. Let's keep it that way.
Joe Kelly is our Kia starter, and he is on quite a roll. Where would this team be without Joe Kelly?
Hard to say where the Cardinals would be. He came out of nowhere. He was in the bullpen at the beginning of the season, and he was almost an afterthought. I think part of why he went to the bullpen is his versatility. Shelby Miller won that 5th spot in the rotation, but the Cardinals could see Joe Kelly as a reliever as well, and that may have been part of the reason to send him there, but he's been terrific as a starter.
Take a look at Ron Renicki's lineup tonight. The Brewers rate like this: Aoki, Jeanette, Lucroy, then Ramirez, Gomez, Schaefer, Halton, Bianchi, and Tyler Thornburg, who is hitless this season. Meanwhile, for the Cardinals defensively, Around the Horn is brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Holiday, Jay, and Beltran in the outfield. Freeze and Cosma on the left side of the infield. Carpenter, Adams on the right side. Yachty again missing from the ball club today, so Tony Cruz gets the start behind the plate. Joe Kelly on the mound, and one of the heroes from last night's game, there he is again, Matt Adams.
Extended the Cardinals' lead with a home run late, and Adams, again, that kind of player that might go 0 for 2, might go 0 for 3, but I still wouldn't throw him down central that 4th at bat. He's really proven that he can hit late.
For 400 feet, that shot last night late. Aoki looks at a ball, and we're underway. The Cardinals pitching in this homestand started with Joe Kelly on Friday night against Pittsburgh, and it has been sensational. 1-0 pitch grounded to the right side, and there is Matt Carpenter. One away. Here's Scooter Jeanette, the second baseman. Played very well. 342, 6 home runs, 18 RBIs.
Been up and down 4 times this year, but this 4th time it's really worked for him. In fact, since the 9th of August, when he was recalled for the 4th time in 2013, he's hit 402. Nobody in baseball has hit as high as Scooter Jeanette over that time period.
One out, nobody on, and the pitch is a fastball and a strike. For the velocity has gotten better and better for Joe Kelly. It'll get better as this game goes along, but consistently he's around 95, 96. Last pitch at 94.
Underrated velocity.
It's another ground ball, and Carpenter can't get it out of the glove. And a base hit for Scooter Jeanette. Brings in Jonathan Lucroy.
Jeanette just finding ways to get on. Pretty good pitch down and in, just beats it into the ground. Our Plaza Tire Service replay. Carpenter makes the play, but in no position to throw.
Thanks to Matt Holliday for voicing that feature on Matt Carpenter. Hope you enjoyed that right before our first pitch. Well done. Brian McCann, a part of that. Works in our truck very hard day in and day out. Here's Jonathan Lucroy. Average at 282, 17 home runs, and he has driven in 77. He's closing in on the all-time RBI mark for a catcher in Milwaukee Brewers history. that is owned by Ted Simmons, and Ted Simmons will be at the ballpark tomorrow. Ted had some great years for both these franchises. 2 balls and no strikes.
One of the things that set Joe Kelly apart during this streak is his ability to pitch with runners on base. Not just getting ground balls, but strikeouts, pop outs.
This is fought off into center field. That'll drop for a base hit. Jeanette thought about being aggressive and going to third. He stays put. He's in scoring position, and a chance here for Aramis Ramirez.
Pretty good pitch again, in on the hands. Lucroy doesn't get much of it. So a little adversity in the early going for Joe Kelly, but again, this has been his strong point. Getting out of jams like this. This is why he's won so many in a row on that Cardinals rotation.
1 out, 2 runners on. Ramirez over 2,000 career hits now. I think really an underrated third baseman and underrated player overall.
The Milwaukee people telling both of us, Dan, that they were a little concerned when Ramirez first came to the Brewers. They thought maybe he would be kind of a lazy player, and they said he's been anything but. He's been a gamer, and he shows up, he plays hard. Kind of has a very relaxed look about him, the way he plays both defensively and offensively. But the Milwaukee folks have been pleasantly surprised with Aramis Ramirez. They knew he could hit, but you just don't want a kind of a whatever attitude to affect younger players, and he hasn't had that at all.
0-2 the count on Ramirez. He's hit the Cardinals very well in his career. A pickoff, and back to the bag is Scooter Gennett. Career that started with Pittsburgh. You see how Kelly is done early on in ball games. For Ramirez, it was off to Chicago, and then now here in Milwaukee. 0-2 pitch. Pulled foul. Joe Kelly on Friday night really pitched out of trouble in 2 separate innings, but that's what he has done all season long. Cardinals have a loss. Seems like his spot pops up with the exception of tonight, and he's able to stop those losing skids the Cardinals have had.
This last time through the rotation, 22 2/3 innings pitched for the Cardinals starters, just 1 earned run.
Wow.
And he got it going, and he gave up that earned run, by the way.
Cruz can't block it. It gets away. And it's runners at second and third. Wild pitch charge to Joe Kelly.
This curveball from Kelly misses by too much. Cruz has been very good going to his right to block balls last couple of days, but that one just too far out.
One ball and 2 strikes. Adam is, well, that's it sharply to short. Cosma the long throw, and Adams had to leap for it. Matt Adams was well off the line at first, had to get back to the bag, and a good play by Cosma. 1-0 Milwaukee as Ramirez drives in his 41st.
Cardinals electing to play the infield back. If the infield was in, it'd be 2-0 right now. That ball was hit hard by Ramirez. But because of the increased range with Cosmo being back, he's able to make that play. Strong throw, bit high. And you got the sense that Pete was thinking about coming home because it was hit so hard.
Lucroy, the runner at second base, and here is Carlos Gomez. Good breaking ball. We saw him incorporate that more so on Friday than in his previous starts.
Agreed. Use the curveball not only more often but more effectively.
Cubs and Pittsburgh tied at 1-1. Bottom of the fourth. Now the Pirates have just put up another run to take the lead 2-1 over Chicago. One ball, one strike. Outfield is straight away.
Matt Holliday was asked yesterday, do you scoreboard watch after the game and the post-game sound? He really was probably the real Cardinal star of the game yesterday with his couple of hits late, very important hits. And Holliday said, you bet I do. You might be looking at it right now.
How do you not?
And he said it. That's exactly what he said. The question was kind of pushed on him. He's like, well, of course we're going to. These games matter, and I want to know what the Pirates are doing.
Sure. So the Pirates with a 2-1 lead. We'll keep an eye on that throughout our telecast tonight.
You don't want to be looking at the scoreboard when a line drives hit to left field. I get that. Time and a place.
Count runs full. That pitch at 97. Logan Schaefer is on deck. Milwaukee with a pair of hits here in this inning. One an infield hit, and the other a jammed soft liner hit into center field. The 3-2 pitch here to Carlos Gomez. On its way. Got him. A strikeout and the first of the night for Joe Kelly. Milwaukee grabs an early lead. Fox Sports Midwest. A look at the Cardinals lineup. It's Carpenter, Jay, and Holliday. And then Beltran, Freeze, Adams, Cruz, Cosma, and the pitcher Joe Kelly sitting 154. The Brewers defense brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Schaefer, Gomez, Aoki in the outfield. Ramirez and Bianchi on the left side. Jeanette and Halton on the right side. Lucroy behind the plate. Tyler Thornburg, we have seen him before.
We saw him last year. Very odd year for him this year. He's in AAA. He's 0-9, and his ERA is over 5, and he gets a call to the big leagues, and he's made 4 starts here, and his ERA is 2.08. Go figure. He's been 6 innings all of those starts, and I guess he just had to find an easier league than AAA to pitch in.
Back in the middle of July of 2012, a no decision against St. Louis in 4 2/3.
24 years of age, does not throw particularly hard, has a curveball and a very good changeup. But he's not a real big guy, and the kind of the knock on Thornburg is he should be easy for hitters to pick up because he's not throwing downhill at all. He's kind of like a flat, plain pitcher, and he does not have a lot of movement.
1-0 pitch. And that's taken for a strike.
Straight as an arrow, 88.
You know, Ron Reineke was very frustrated after the game last night. And he's one not to show a ton of emotion, tries to stay very even keel. And he said concerning Mike Gonzalez, I don't know if or when he'll get back out there. Talking about the lefty, and their bullpen has been a sore spot all season long. Remember at the beginning of the season, Axford was blowing games. They were trying to find Henderson to be the closer. They weren't sure about their 8th inning man. Now they have that, but last night he went to him in the 7th, and Brandon Kinsler. That didn't work out. So very frustrating year in many ways for Ron Reineke. 2-2.
Interesting comment. If or when he would go to his left-hander, and Gonzalez has appeared in close to 70 games, maybe more than 70 at this point. So he's had a full season, plenty of work, and it may be a matter of shutting him down because the Brewers obviously making decisions differently right now than the Cardinals are. And that's something we're going to encounter over the last couple of weeks playing the Milwaukee Brewers, the Seattle Mariners. You are going to see teams that have different agendas. Of course, the agenda is to always win, but there's going to be a development agenda that's going to be a part of the managers that are managing teams under 500.
2-2. Fouled back by Carpenter. Visiting with John Mozeliak today, I said Carpenter is a heck of a player. It's some kind of story, and he said he's even a better person. He said his story to get to the big leagues has been remarkable. You heard it voiced by Matt Holliday in that little feature prior to our first pitch. As Carpenter hits it on the ground to short. What a story it has been for the Cardinal leadoff man. Here's John Jay. 264 average, 7 home runs, and he's driven in 63. How about that? 63 RBIs for John Jay. Bouncing around this lineup. Leadoff man, second spot, and then for a while the 7th.
He is 0 for his last 9, and it's been a kind of a recurring theme for John Jay that he'll get hot and then he'll go the other way, then he'll get hot. And we talked about his last long 0 that we thought, well, he may go out there and go 4 for 4, and he did right the next night. So a bit of a streaky hitter. He really has a feel kind of swing, and I think pitchers aren't quite sure how to pitch John Jay, and I don't think there's a real book on him. When he's hitting well, he just hits everything. But 0 for 9. The RBIs you mentioned, pretty extraordinary for a center fielder.
1-2 pitch to Jay.
Also helps that a lot of your teammates are on base all the time.
Middle of that lineup, he got a ton of these RBIs hitting from the 7th spot. And this season against Milwaukee, good numbers, 308, pair of home runs, 12 of his 63 RBIs against the Brewers. And the count runs full. Home plate umpire is Chris Guccione. He was right in the middle of things as the first base umpire last night. One out walk. Brings in Matt Holliday. He himself has been on a tear lately. Average up to 287. He's in the top 10 in RBIs now with 81. 19 home runs. Homered in game 1 of this series. Check on Jay. Look at that Brewers defense. Big gap in left center field. Hold the runner at first. 1-0 pitch. Holiday hits it a mile high. He would love that one back.
Yes, he would.
Whoa. As the catch is made by Ramirez near Lucroy. And there's 2 away.
Lucroy was struggling with that pop-up from the beginning. He got turned around. Almost couldn't find it. Backs up into fair territory, and good thing for him, Ramirez was there.
Ricky, I think you are spot on. And looking at some of these pitches, there is not a lot of movement with this fastball.
When I was thinking with Holiday at the plate especially,
right,
and we've watched Matt maybe get, I don't want to say overmatched, but he can get overpowered by guys with really good stuff from time to time. And, you know, Matt can hit anybody, obviously, but guys like this, he just crushes. And I just had this feeling of him having one of those nights where he's just hitting rockets all over the place. That was a rocket. It was just, unfortunately, vertical.
Here's Beltran, who's in the cleanup spot. The Cardinal switch hitter, hitting .307, 23 home runs, and 76 RBIs. He's playing in his 131st game tonight. So going back to last year, played a ton in the regular season, all of the postseason where he really performed at a high level. And now here you have game number 131 for Carlos Beltran this season. The Cardinals have kept him healthy, moving him to right field. Clearly the right choice, not making him a backup center fielder.
So he may play 145, give or take, at this pace. And that's about 10 or 15 more than you might have hoped for. And not a matter of ability, clearly, but with Beltran, you just have to find that rest. And, you know, he certainly did struggle a bit in the second half a year ago, and I think that's why.
Good jump for Jay, and still they catch him on a pitch that was high and away. And Lucroy guns down John Jay. So caught stealing, and Beltran left standing at the plate. Good evening for the first time to Jim Hayes. And Jim, what's the status right now of Cardinal slugger Alan Craig?
Well, the Cardinals say they're still encouraged about Craig's progress. Still no timetable for his return. He did have that sprained left foot re-examined by doctors today. According to John Mozeliak, the doctors recommended he put the walking boot back on. He had been walking without it, but that's just as a precaution. But overall, they're optimistic that Alan Craig will play baseball this season. It's going to take some time, and there is no timetable yet for his return.
All right, Jim, thanks. Here is Logan Schaefer. Pitch is popped up and out of play. Into the Milwaukee dugout as Freese gave it a look. Alan Craig just shy of getting to some career marks that you know he'd love to get to. He could have had an RBI title this year.
At least get 100 RBIs.
Yep. Get to that century mark. And as Jim pointed out, no timetable for his return. Jim actually asked John Mozeliak about that down in the dugout prior to the game tonight. That's pulled foul. The question then becomes, when he does come back, it's about timing. And you've got to get a few games in, I would think, Rick, in live action before he gets thrust into game action for the playoffs.
Yeah, he's going to have to hit a couple of days before you just kind of throw him in there. And I think he'll be able to probably hit off the tee first, you know, just kind of stand there and take some swings and just kind of get all the cobwebs out there. But the reality of what you do on your foot, especially as a hitter, the torque that you have and the strain that you have in your bottom half, I mean, it may take a while for him to get that right before he's game ready. Forget the timing, the physical part of testing it at every level you need to test it. But the Cardinals love to have him back. How about the fact the Cardinals have two of the top 10 hitters in baseball in Molina and Craig not in the lineup tonight, but you still feel good about the offense.
No doubt. The Brewers really haven't connected on their hits with anything hard here tonight. Schaefer just sticking the bat out. And a base hit out to left. Now it's Sean Halton who's at first base tonight. Jay moving back a few steps as that ball is thrown away. Winding up at third is Logan Schaefer. That'll be error on Joe Kelly. So Kelly not helping his own cause here in the first two innings with a wild pitch and now that error.
Schaefer was definitely a threat to steal, so it made sense to check on him. 7 for 8 stolen bases, but got more than a stolen base there.
Right side of the infield is in. Cosma a few steps in at short, and that pitch is taken for a ball inside. Mentioned it last night, Rick, the Cardinals' tremendous record. All these wins now piling up at home, and overall at 25 games above 500. That matches their season high.
7-3 in the month of September. July 25th, they were 25 games above 500. Had a 2.5 game lead at the time, and today back to 25 again. It seems like they're on a bit of a push, Dan. If you go month by month, the Cardinals were 4 games over 500 in April. Then they had the terrific May when they went 20-7. That's really where they pushed the big lead ahead. And June 14-14, July 13-12, kind of average. And then August 3 games over 500, September 4. So maybe the Cardinals on an upswing again.
3-1 on Hulk. Historically, the last couple of seasons, this has been a very good month for St. Louis, finishing up the strong record in September. The 3-1 pitch. Ground ball that's hit to short. Oh, past Cosma and into center. Everything's in slow motion right now for the club.
Boy, it sure is.
RBI for Halton. That's number 7. 2-0 Milwaukee.
To wait on the scoring for that, you'd think that would be an error. Ball was hit okay. Going to be an RBI either way because a run would have scored, but
just ruled a base hit. Hyundai replay. Cosma to his left. They may change that before the night is through.
And seeing it live the reason we both feel that same way is that ball wasn't hit very far to the left of Pete Cosme. He just seemed to have a bad jump on it. And should have been an out.
Jeff Bianchi, 251, no home runs, and he's driven in 22. Runner at first and nobody out, and a 2-run lead for Milwaukee. So again, the Cardinals have to come from behind, something they've done all series long.
And the Cardinals are getting no hit again.
I don't know if you knew this. We are just 1 inning in for the Cardinals offensively.
I'm aware. I figured I'd just call it out sooner than wait till the 5th inning, and
now the jinx is over.
Yeah, just get it out of the way.
Okay. Tell you what, I don't know if you've ever broken down a game any better than that.
I just wanted to give you a little glimpse into how my mind works. Scary, isn't it?
Oh, goodness. I think in slow motion, though, here tonight.
Agreed.
1-2 pitch. Breaking ball and did not go on the check swing. It's Ron Kolpa, the first base umpire, and a St. Louis native. The 2-2 off the end of the bat. Little floater out to center. Shallow. Catch made by Carpenter. 1 away. Tyler Thornburg. Short lead at first. Thornburg bunts it foul for strike 1.
This game a good indication of exactly what you're talking about, Dan, about this game feeling like it's in mud a bit. When you play the game crisply, and that means no wild pitches, no errors, you make the plays you're supposed to make, you do things fundamentally well, the game has a different look to it, has a different feel to it. In this game, the Cardinals have, in the early going, not done that. So it's very lethargic feeling, and you have to find a way to overcome that. And losing teams get mired in that and don't really believe in themselves enough to say we can overcome a bad couple of innings here. And I think the Cardinals, as a winning team, know they can do it. But that's what losing teams do. They don't get the ground balls they should get. They make an error, as Milwaukee did last night with Lucroy throwing the ball away. I mean, that was a big part of this game.
You're right.
That biggest play in this game was Lucroy throwing the ball away at first base at the end. And Cardinals have not played like this very much in the last week or so, but they did on the road trip. We saw it on the road. And again, 7 innings to overcome it, and no reason to think they won't.
Gets the bunt down, and Kelly fires to second, throws it into center field. It is that kind of night early on. You could see that happening too.
Oh yeah. You could see it, you could feel it, couldn't you?
Yep. So fielder's choice, E1, and the second error for the Cardinals tonight, and the second on Joe Kelly.
Nothing Pete Cosme could do about that. And see almost a flat-footed ending to that throw from Joe Kelly. Probably the reason the ball sailed on him. Trying to be a hero there. Now he's giving himself some more trouble.
Top of the lineup, Aoki. David Freese well off the line at third in a couple of steps. He drops down a bunt and pushes it foul. This is where Aoki can be a very dangerous hitter in this spot. You have to respect the fact that he can do what he just did there to keep it fair. He's got good speed. He's running out of the box. You have David Freese having to play in. You're trying to also keep the runner close at second. So on that left side of the infield, a lot of hitting lanes.
I'm not against Aoki doing this, but 30 years ago, everybody who wore a baseball uniform would be. Bunting with a guy in scoring position would have been like saying, okay, I'm going to get a hit, but I want somebody else to drive him in.
Passing the buck.
And that would have been the way it was said. Nobody, I mean nobody did that. And it's such a weapon for him, however, that in his mind, I'm sure he's thinking I get the runner to third base in better scoring position. But you got an RBI out there.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Why get 2 hits to get a run instead of just 1? Aoki's hit the Cardinals well, 375 this season.
Game 1 of this series, struck out 3 times, twice against starter Shelby Miller. Aoki hits a ground ball, and Carpenter goes to second, out there on to first. Oh, they turned the double play. How about that? I didn't think they had any shot. They sure got him. 4-6-3. Great promotions for the kids. Kids 48 inches and under with a game ticket get a free Six Flags ticket and also a Prairie Farms ice cream sundae. That means free ice cream treats before the game. After the game, stick around and you'll be able to run the bases. Carlos Beltran left standing after John Jay was caught stealing in the bottom of the first. He was at the plate. Counted run to 2-0. And the inning came to a close. So it's Beltran, Freese, and Adams for the Cardinals, and they are trailing 2-0 in this ball game. The heat, it's broke, and thankfully, yeah, it feels very nice here at the ballpark.
Cardinal fans starting to get that pre-October feel, and you can sense it every place you go in St. Louis right now. A lot of talk about the Cardinals and who's pitching and what'd you think of Lance Lynn and how are we going to set up the rotation in October. And you can always tell when fans are really into it because they kind of go from the Hey, how are those Cardinals doing? To, hey, we're doing great, aren't we?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pronoun thing. Listen for the pronoun.
They're all jumping in.
And it's okay. Come on in.
Tonight it's game number 146. After the game on Sunday, head out to Denver. 4 games with the Rockies. Wrap it up with 3, the road portion of the schedule, then 3 with Milwaukee. And back home to finish up the regular season. By that time, you'll have potentially a pretty good idea of who you might play in postseason. But you got to get there first. And there is all kinds of maneuvering that can happen right now when you look at not just where you may be finishing up, but also the potential of home field advantage.
A very real potential.
2-2.
Cardinals currently tied with the Dodgers in terms of overall record, 2 games behind Atlanta. The one caveat to that is they have to be better than those teams because of the head-to-head matchups, so they can't finish tied if you're talking about home field advantage, but still very well within reach for the Cardinals to have the best record in the National League. Very, very possible.
A 3-2 pitch. Good rip by Beltran as he fouls it back. That's when you think about your matchups and with interleague play and the fact that you're now playing more than ever inside your own division. Those games with the Atlanta Braves, with the LA Dodgers, take on greater importance.
No question.
But at the time, you're not saying that in May.
Well, I think as the format becomes more understood in time, I think teams will have that as a more of a stated goal in series like that, where you're playing the Dodgers, you're playing the Braves, and you're realizing that, look, there's something else on the line here.
In the air out to right, gets underneath it. The catch made by Aoki. You mentioned it the other day that Don Mattingly could go from first man fired to manager of the year. Very well could happen.
Crazy game. I had a sense when we were out in Los Angeles that part of the Dodgers' problem is they were waiting on Matt Kemp, waiting on him to lead them, not just kind of by his performance, but to be the centerpiece of that team. And they were kind of stuck in that almost, and they had to kind of come out and find new stars. Of course, Puig changed that whole scenario.
He turned into that player.
He turned into that player, and then the other players became better around him. I mean, Adrian Gonzalez can play. Hanley Ramirez can play.
Freeze hits it out of play, 0-2.
I mean, they're frontline guys.
It's not only filling the role that you just talked about, but it's the manner in which he did it too. When he arrived in LA, the glitz, the glamour, and the way that he goes about playing the game with the mistakes. And goodness, he makes a lot of mistakes, but man, is he fun to watch. From a fan's perspective, he's fun, and the players feed off that energy too.
So think about Matt Kemp with the Dodgers. He's your guy, and he's where you're putting all your hopes. And I don't think they needed to do that. They had enough other players. But with him out, that's all everybody was talking about. What if the Cardinals were doing that right now about Alan Craig?
Sure. A strikeout of Freeze. And the first of the night for Tyler Thornburg.
Overhand curveball. And the no-hitter continues.
Here's Matt Adams. Willie Peralta no-hit the Cardinals until 2 outs in the 6th. Marco Estrada followed suit. 5 2/3 last night. First time that the Brewers had done that. Back-to-back games in franchise history. First time the Cardinals were on the receiving end of that 2 straight games since 1975.
And the irony is the Brewers lost both games.
Shift is on here for Adams. This is about as pronounced a shift that you'll see against Matt Adams. Shortstop Bianchi is on the second base side, and your second baseman Jeanette is in shallow right. BJC difference maker time. Barnes Jewish Hospital difference maker. Carpenter, Holiday, Adams, the Mets, the difference makers in the first two games. 1-2 the count on the big slugger Matt Adams. Averaging RBI every 6 at bats. Best mark since the 1940s among a Cardinals rookie. When he waves at it, strikes out. 2 strikeouts for Tyler Thornburg. West is brought to you by Schnucks, your neighborhood hometown grocer. And go big at a participating Jack in the Box with Jack's really big sandwich combos for only $3.99 plus tax. By the way, we just got word that from last night's game here that was originally charged to Tony Cruz, what would have been an inning-ending caught stealing has now been charged to Daniel Descalso.
Which is what we thought in the beginning, that was Daniel's error. And at the time, it was a big play.
No doubt.
But Daniel ended up getting a base hit in that game to more than make up for it. And the Cardinals scored a lot late. And Joe Kelly hoping that he can keep the Brewers right where they're at. 2-0 is the score, and hope that his offense will show up, I guess, in the 6th, 7th, and 8th inning. Is that what we're waiting for?
That's been the plan of attack here in the first two games. Nothing at 2 the count on Jeanette. It's waved at. Cruz has to chase it down and fires a strike to Adams. Strikeout number 2 for Joe Kelly. Let's see if he can't settle in. Jonathan Lucroy was jammed, hit a soft liner into center for a base hit. Cardinals will wrap up interleague play this weekend here at Busch Stadium as we welcome in the Seattle Mariners. Wainwright goes tomorrow, then Walker and Shelby Miller. And a strike at the knees to Lucroy. Here's the 0-1. Mike Matheny bobblehead giveaway tomorrow here at the ballpark. Good breaking ball in there for strike 2. Outfield is straight away and a 1-2 pitch. Changeup, which has been such an effective pitch for Joe Kelly.
His changeup has a bit of the kind of the stop change action to it, where it's coming and then it just kind of seems to stop, like you're pulling the string on it, and it can be very difficult to pick up.
Well, that is the idea of a changeup.
But some of them seem to, and they don't, but they literally seem to stop halfway there. We used to call it a stop changeup, and I don't, as opposed to kind of just a flatter one that just comes in. Right. There's one that will, and part of it is the movement at the end, and where it'll dip and kind of move down the last 3 feet before it gets to the plate. But that's the kind of changeup John Tudor had. We used to call it straight change and a stop change, almost 2 different pitches.
Catch made by Beltran in right center.
Best changeup I think I ever saw, and I played catch with him a lot. We were teammates in the Dominican Republic. Was Mario Soto, and when Mario Soto would throw a changeup, and he would do it just playing catch with him, he could make the changeup go left and right in terms of last-minute movement. And he had the circle change delivery, but he could alter his arm angle just a little bit and make the ball go down and away to a lefty or down and away from a right-hander. And I don't know anybody that does that.
Best changeup you saw
Was
Soto?
Soto's.
Yeah.
Tudor's was great too. Soto's was a weapon.
Two outs, nobody on, and a 2-0 pitch to Aramis Ramirez. Fly ball out to center. Jay is there. 1-2-3 inning. First of the night for Joe Kelly. Cruz, Cosma, Kelly coming up when we come back. Right, and Dan O'Toole along with Donovan McNabb, Andy Roddick, Carissa Thompson, as they bring you all the scores, news, and highlights you need. Catch Fox Sports Live nightly on Fox Sports 1. Tony Cruz will lead things off. Again, no Yadier Molina tonight as Cruz lines one into left field. And the Cardinals have their first hit of the night.
No hitter finally broken up here in the bottom of the third. Tony Cruz does it. Done a nice job filling in for Yadier Molina. Very surprised his timing's as good as it's been after coming off the disabled list not really that long ago. Pete Kozma, 5 for his last 13, getting the start tonight. Hoping for a big night for him.
Here is Pete Kozma. Short lead at first by Cruz. Big gap in left center. And a strike with a breaking ball. The pitcher Joe Kelly is on deck. Big Cardinal fan watching tonight, Scott Washburn. Bob and Nancy Potter as well. They never miss a game. And they want to send get well wishes to Grant Washburn, resting comfortably in the hospital and watching Cardinal baseball tonight. So get well to Grant. One ball, one strike. One and two.
One of the things I think Kozma's been doing during his slump, and yes, he's hit a little bit better in the last week, but he had that 0 for 33. It seemed like there were times where he was picking out the wrong pitch to attack, take a fastball right down the middle, maybe middle in, wasn't ready for it, and then he'd swing at something off the plate in or down and away. It just didn't seem like his pitch recognition was very good.
Kozma lifts a fly ball out to left. Logan Schaefer is there. Good race in the National League. How about the American League? Texas with Tampa Bay, New York, Baltimore, Cleveland, Kansas City. Only 2 out for the wild card. So the AT Twitter poll, which American League team has the best chance for a wild card spot? Yankees, Orioles, Indians, Royals. The AT Twitter poll. Derek Jeter, by the way, will miss the rest of this season. Done for the year.
Are you trying to influence our voters?
Not at all.
You're trying to inform them.
Indians, by the way, they have the easiest schedule. Now that may be swaying the vote. And the Yankees have added Brendan Ryan. And a strike to Kelly.
So if it were today, the wild card teams would be Texas and Tampa Bay. We were asking which of the 4 teams trying to chase those 2 teams has the best chance of catching them. I'm going to vote Baltimore. How do I vote? Where do I go?
Bud Norris, by the way, a sore elbow. Missed a start. As Kelly gets the bunt down and it rolls foul. And Mike Matheny not overly pleased with that call. Chris Guccione with the call. I can see why.
Wow, that was very close.
That was awfully close.
Sure was. Hard to tell from that angle, but looked as if the ball was on the line, or it maybe touching it at least.
Kelly can't help his own cause. MLB.TV celebrating 11 years. Keep up with the pennant races and catch the rest of this season in HD quality. Watch every out-of-market game live on more than 350 mobile and connected devices. Visit MLB.TV today. So strikeout in the books. Number 3 tonight for Tyler Thornburg. And here's Carpenter, grounded out to short.
Talked about Alan Craig all year long with runners in scoring position. We know Freddie Freeman's having a big year with Atlanta with that particular stat. The Cardinals still have 5 of the first 6 in the league, but the 3rd best hitter with runners in scoring position in the National League is at the plate. As if we don't have enough other good statistics for Matt Carpenter.
70 RBIs, majority of those obviously from the leadoff spot. Let's just say, for argument's sake, he will move over to 3rd at some point in his career. Then does he become a guy that you think could hit 20 home runs if he wanted to? He made that more of a focus to be a power guy.
I think he certainly could hit more home runs if he was bent on doing it. The question would be, is that the right thing for him to do? Think about a third baseman like Wade Boggs, who is just flat out good hitter who hit home runs every once in a while, and you typically want that to be a power position, corner position. But if you've got power elsewhere, I'm not sure it matters that much anymore.
0-2. That's what the Cardinals have talked about, that in the future, if he does shift over to third base, there's enough around him where they're not worried about saying that, okay, our third baseman, our first baseman have to be prototypical power hitters and corner infielders that hit you 25 to 30 home runs. And a strikeout of Carpenter. He's 0 for 2. Thornburg has struck out 4. Of a fan favorite photo day presented by Creve Coeur Camera. And you'll be able to go on the field and take up-close photos of the players, the coaches. Mike Matheny, Fred Bird will be down there. Creve Coeur Camera Photo Day. Chris Lee, see his photos night in and night out on STL Today and also in the paper at the Post-Dispatch.
Does a great job.
Sure does.
Scott Rovac was near him in the shot earlier. He's a Cardinal team photographer. He takes great shots as well. And think about some of those great images we've seen over the years having to be caught at just the right moment. There's Scott. And you take him for granted. Think of the shot of David Eckstein, and I believe Chris Lee took that shot. David Eckstein, after hitting a grand slam at home plate, jumping into this pile of players, one of my favorite photos ever, and just captured the joy of the moment, and just so well done. But it had to be obviously taken at the right time with the perfect artistry involved, and just really captured that moment perfectly.
2 balls and 1 strike. Carlos Gomez. Gomez a single into center field. Going back to 2006, thinking of David Eckstein. The championship ring as the arch with the fireworks on the side. The championship ring of 2006. And that is from a photo that was taken. The photographers will set up cameras around the city, and when the final out hits or a famous moment, press a button, all their cameras go off and take the pictures. Remote control, so to speak. And that's how that was taken from a bridge that was by the old ballpark. Set up strategically.
I did not know that.
Logan Schaefer, a single and a run scored. Fairly close at first there.
Sure was. Gomez 34 for 40 in stolen bases. The Brewers as a team lead the National League with 124. The Cardinals last in the National League with 41.
Pitch to Schaefer.
Interesting. We were talking about power last inning from a Cardinal standpoint. Cardinals pretty average in terms of home run power this year, and again dead last in terms of speed. You would think that would translate into not a lot of runs, but the Cardinals have made up for that and more because of the way they hit with runners in scoring position. That's the difference maker. Not a lot of power, not a lot of steals, but plenty of doubles and plenty of clutch at bats.
Seen with Logan Schaefer last 2 seasons, up and down with Milwaukee. With Ryan Braun suspended, a chance for him to play. It's Gomez and Segura, a couple of guys that you have to watch out for in terms of stolen bases. No Yadier Molina, so you would figure Ron Renneke, nothing to lose. Why not?
Segura sitting tonight. He really looked bad his last at bat against Trevor Rosenthal, and looked to have kind of a lazy swing. Looked worn out, so he's getting the night off. But he's been a very good player for Ron Renneke. 40 stolen bases, leads the National League. Again, Milwaukee as a team leading the league, but their problem has been pitching.
2 balls and 1 strike. See if they want to do some running here. There he goes, and it's hit sharply to Adams. Steps on the bag, and there's 1 away. Ryan Braun has been personally calling season ticket holders and asking the front office and those in their business side and operations of the Milwaukee Brewers to give him a list of name and numbers to call the season ticket holders to personally apologize to them.
He's not using the word mistake, is he?
I haven't been on the other end.
I know. Well, why don't you buy a season ticket and
Ryan, call me up
and report back to me. Well, he was getting a lot of flack in Milwaukee because he was using the word mistake, which is kind of like forgetting to dot your I or cross your T or missing an exit on the freeway. That's a mistake. I mean, what he did is a little bit different than just a word mistake, and implied a lot less accountability than the Milwaukee fans were hoping for, and they were really upset about that. So maybe he's changed his apology, and maybe it's sincere, and I hope it is.
1-0 pitch to Sean Halton with a runner at second base. Cardinals trailing 2-0.
Frankly, it's hard for fans who heard the sincere comments from him to say he didn't do it. I mean, sincerely making a strong statement that it wasn't him, and some of his teammates found that objectionable.
If you're Doug Melvin, and if you're the baseball side of the operation in Milwaukee, how long has he been doing it? What kind of player am I getting back? So did whatever he was using make him a all-star and an MVP, or am I getting an average major league player?
Good question.
And this isn't a contract that can be hidden. I mean, this sticks out like a sore thumb in Milwaukee. And I'm not saying you can hide $120 million that's left on any deal, but there are certain teams that could absorb a hit a little bit better than others. It's well hit out to deep left field, and this ball is gone. It's a home run. Sean Halton, his second home run. So on a 2-1 pitch, he makes it a 4-run Milwaukee lead.
Change up, belt high, and first row high, ultimately. Not been the sharpest night for Joe Kelly or for the 8 guys that are playing with him. But plenty of time.
Jeff Bianchi with 1 out, nobody on. 1 ball, 1 strike. Cardinals with 2 errors, both of those charged to Joe Kelly. 1-1 pitch. Foul ball.
Seems to me that Joe Kelly deserves to have his team put a 6th spot up on the board and get him a victory in a game where he does not have his best stuff, his best outing. He's been so good for so long in that Cardinal rotation, and he has bailed out this team. So let's bail out Joe Kelly.
3-2 pitch. Pitch count already at 70 for Kelly as you play here in the top of the 4th. And a base hit into right field. So 3 hits in this inning allowed by Joe Kelly. 7 in the ball game. The Bacon Habanero Ranch Quarter Pounder is topped with white cheddar, thick cut applewood smoked bacon, tomato, leaf lettuce, and a spicy cool Habanero Ranch sauce, all on a bakery style bun. It's mouthwatering for a reason, and it's only at McDonald's. Here's the pitcher, Tyler Thornburg. I wonder if the Cardinals would want to get some activity rolling in their bullpen with the expanded rosters. Kelly not as sharp tonight as we have seen him. As Thornburg gets the bunt down, steps, throws, and makes the play. Sacrifice is good. 1-4 on the play as Bianchi advances into scoring position. And it's Aoki, who's 0 for 2, who's also hit into a double play. The countdown according to Brad Straubinger, the pregame show producer. Best Cardinals postseason moments as voted on by Brad.
He's an expert, though.
Number 17 is tomorrow. Those have been fun to look back on. And today it was Sho Taguchi and Scott Spezio getting to Billy Wagner in 2006.
Fun to watch those, wasn't it?
It's great. Forget some of those, too.
And we teased Brad about that, our pregame producer, but he really does love Cardinal baseball, and he loves all those moments and enjoys kind of culling through those to find out the moments, the dates, the times, and it's a labor of love for him, I know, and I've been enjoying the countdown. Carlos Martinez, the reliever that you expected, warming up in the Cardinals bullpen.
Cardinals on that countdown tonight got to Billy Wagner with Scott Spezio and Sho Taguchi. Famous home run of the 2006 NLCS, and that was at Shea Stadium. 1-1 pitch, catches the outside corner. Cardinals in the bottom of this inning will have Jay, Holiday, and Beltran due up.
Really struggled with the release point on his curveball. He's pulled a lot into the dirt. He was doing that early. That one just spun underneath it. Your hand actually comes underneath the ball and it feels like it slips out of your hand. It just kind of spins high and away from a left-handed batter, and that's what that last pitch was.
Doesn't get the call on the inside corner.
So you don't have the curveball and you almost become a two-pitch pitcher, and you're not quite as sure where to go with it. Joe Kelly's been so good, Dan, at, as we mentioned, pitching out of jams, pitching out of trouble, but he's had 3 pitches that he's had good command of in order to do it.
A 3-2 pitch, and he walked him. First walk issued by Kelly. Here comes Derek Lilliquist, the Cardinals pitching coach. Give Martinez a little more time to get loose if they need to go in that direction.
Kelly is making his 13th start, and in this winning streak that he's had, he's worked into the 6th inning and beyond in every one of those starts.
That's right.
Been very consistent. 8 of the 11 starts that he's had, okay, 8 of the last 11, he has given up 0 or 1 run.
This team is not even close to first place without Joe Kelly.
You're 4 or 5 games different if he was average instead of being really good.
Sure.
So if he was average, now if he was worse than average, you're talking about 6 games different. So you're chasing Cincinnati for the wild card at this point.
Then all of a sudden that series with Washington at the end of the season becomes very, very important.
I believe it's going to be important anyway. Not for the Nationals. But that division crown still means something. Being a wild card is okay. You'll take it. but it's not plan A. Plan A is winning the division.
1 ball, 1 strike. Scooter Gennett. Infield hit, run scored back in the first, struck out swinging in the third. Kelly has struck out 2 tonight. One pitch, tied him up in on his hands, and it's fouled back. Good seats still available, especially for tomorrow night. Be close to 40,000. The Mike Matheny bobblehead. Camera Day on Saturday. Six Flags Day. 48 inches and under. One-two pitch. Joe Kelly throwing a spiked curveball here, Rick.
Yeah, that's his curveball grip. Really the same kind of curveball grip that we've seen Jason Isringhausen throw and other pitchers. You just kind of push your pointer finger into the ball.
There it is. And he gets a strikeout. Strikeout number 3 for Joe Kelly. Coming up, he'll lead it off. Center fielder John Jay. Ken Oberkfell will be here tomorrow, and it's the Budweiser Bash. Make sure you're here early. Autographs begin at 5:30, and that'll be Ken Oberkfell tomorrow. The Budweiser Bash. Seven hits tonight for Milwaukee, and they have a 4-run lead. Early tonight, this game has been a little sloppy for St. Louis, and now they need to get the offense going. Just one hit against Tyler Thornburg.
One thing we've seen in the month of September, really all year long, but especially in September, the crowd has really been responding to positive things they've seen on the field. So the Cardinals need to get this crowd into this game here, and you know they're just waiting for that moment.
Big Cardinal fan Jason Hughes recovering in the hospital tonight, watching Cardinals baseball. Good luck to Jason. Hope to see him here soon. That's hit out of play.
Just thought of I'm a little late on the trivia question, but I thought of a trivia question we should have asked. How many Seattle Mariners can you name? 0 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 6, 6 or more? And I would have been interested what our fans would say about that. Looking forward to the Mariners being here, but I can't say that I know a lot about them. And I would guess most of our fans don't either.
That's why we pay you the big bucks.
Oh, I'll know about them by tomorrow. Hisashi Iwakuma, I will know everything about that man.
We were going to get the scoops from Brendan Ryan, and he's been traded away.
We lost our mole.
He would have helped. There's no filter on that dude.
We could have got the signs from Brendan Ryan.
Oh, yeah.
I promise
so when you see him go here, then touch the shoulder, go here, I'm going.
Here's what you do.
That's when I steal second.
Here's what you do to Brendan. You say, I know your signs, they're this. And he'll say, no, they're not. They're that. And you got him.
So wait a minute, I go to the knee again? No, you go back up here to the shoulder. Now, we give him trouble, but I enjoy being around Brendan.
There's no question.
I know he drove some crazy, in particular with a veteran club. However, I did get a kick out of him.
Full of energy and enthusiasm and an outstanding, I mean outstanding defensive shortstop.
Sure was. Holiday hits it down the left field line, and this ball is fair. That'll be a ground rule double.
I'm not sure from our angle a fan may have touched that ball. May have taken an RBI away from Matt Holliday. I'll have to look at it on replay, but it was down in a corner away from our view.
Phil Cuzzy immediately put his hands up,
and I'm wondering if a fan touched that ball or not. Whatever caused it to be a ground rule double cost Matt Holliday an RBI. And it's going to result in a conversation, and this may be about the ground rules.
Did it hit the top of the wall, Rick, on the side there?
Well, at first I saw fans reach over. I thought a fan must have touched it. Again, I appreciate the fact that they're having a conversation about it, but the conversation last night didn't produce a result that was any better. John Jay's going to score just in case they let him.
And the play's been over for 5 minutes, but why not?
It looks like they're going to let John Jay score.
Yeah, sure
Ron
does.
Reddick's not happy about that. So it's not a ground rule double.
When I looked down and saw Phil Cuzzy put his arms up, immediately signaling dead ball.
And is it a dead ball in his mind because the ball hit in the seats or because a fan touched it?
Ooh.
Well, I don't know if it was touched or not. And the question is, perhaps, is that railing
right? The fencing there, the little black.
Is that in play or not? Mike Matheny knew the rule, made sure
iron there.
He passed that along.
Yeah. Here's Carlos Beltran. So the Cardinals get on the board, and that turns into an RBI for Holiday.
So
there really is no fan interference.
So it's first, and it was very close to that fan touching that ball.
1-0 pitch. Take it inside. That fan did touch it. It clearly is a dead ball.
And I thought in my mind that's what Cuzzy was calling.
Beltran hits a high towering shot. It's into right. Not deep enough. Aoki makes the catch. Holiday tags up from second to third. Second time through this lineup, you get the feeling now the Cardinals may get to Tyler Thornburg.
Has that feel, doesn't it? And Beltran almost made it 4-3. I love the way Aoki got back to the fence and came in on that fly ball. He did that picture perfect.
Here is David Freese. Seen him turning on pitches more often. Let's see him aggressive early here.
Here's my confusion about that ball in the corner. If Cuzzy thought it was fan interference and a dead ball, how would the other umpires have seen that it wasn't? There's no way they would have seen that.
He's got the best view.
He had to have said that it was a ground rule double because it hit that iron fence, and he thought that was out of play, which it's not, which he later learned from the conversation with Matheny and the other umpire. So the fan interference thing, we saw it in the replay and still couldn't tell. And certainly he wouldn't have been overruled by the home plate umpire and the first base umpire about whether the fan touched the ball.
Outside, 3-0 here on David Freese. It's a very odd play.
Odd play. This would be a big pickup right here for David Freese. The infield is back. 3-0. Do you let him swing?
Three and one.
I wouldn't say that Thornburg is on the ropes, but he's taken a couple of body shots.
I agree. That's why I get the sense that the Cardinals get to him this inning with these bats coming up. And Freese hits a fly ball into right. Aoki backs up, makes the catch. Holiday tags up. And it's now a 4-2 Milwaukee lead. The RBI for Freese, number 55.
Situational hitting again for the Cardinals. That's why they score runs at the rates they score them. Just get the ball in the outfield. That's the name of the game here with a runner at third. Plenty deep enough to score Holiday, who just scored his 90th run of the year, 5th in the National League.
So again, the Mats coming through. This time it's Holiday driving in a run and scoring a run. Now it's Matt Adams.
So the ground rule double, a moot point at this point, because the runs would have scored either way.
The Pirates hold on, defeat the Cubs 3-1. So as we speak, Pittsburgh a half game back of St. Louis. Give the Pirates credit going down to Texas, sweeping that series at the very end of a long road trip. Outside to Adams. Two balls, two strikes. Off speed pitch. Adams strikes out. Number 5 tonight for Tyler Thornburg, but the Cardinals get on the board. So judge for yourself. Did a fan touch it? Apparently not. That's the ruling by the umpires, and because of that, it is off the fencing and above the green padding there in the sidewall. So the ball is in play. Heads up there by Mike Matheny, and the Cardinals to at least go out there and challenge that, and they win and overturn the call.
And the first question had to be, why are you calling that a ground rule double? Because you believe a fan touched it, or because it hit the black railing? And he must have said because it hit the black railing.
Here's Jonathan Lucroy. Lucroy looks at a strike, 1-1. Soft liner into center field for a base hit. Also flied out to right. 1 for 2 on the night. Outfield is straight away, not very deep. Back to Kelly. 1 away. It brings in third baseman Aramis Ramirez.
Very timely that the Cardinals were able to get that 2 runs back in the bottom of the 4th inning. Important for Joe Kelly to kind of solidify that comeback and throw up a 0 here, keep it a 2-run game, get his team back as quickly as possible to the bat rack.
Matt Holliday since the All-Star break hitting .325. That is updated with his base hit and double and RBI tonight. Seth Maness, one of the many weapons at Mike Matheny's disposal. 1-1 pitch to Ramirez. A ground ball slowly hit to third. Much better breaking ball that time from Joe Kelly. 2 down. This 4-2 game here in the top of the 5th. What's on tap brought to you by Budweiser. Adam Wainwright will go for St. Louis tomorrow. 9-5 in interleague play as the Mariners come to town, and will come your way at 6:30 tomorrow night. Game 1 of a weekend series with Seattle. Jim Hayes has some interesting notes on Wainwright that we'll get to before this telecast is through, and what Adam has been doing between his starts. Here's Carlos Gomez, and let's bring in Jim right now. Jim, with Adam Wainwright, what has been going on with side sessions, if at all?
Yeah, he threw 7 scoreless in his last outing, got to being Adam Wainwright. He scuffled in his previous 2 starts, so he changed up his routine, didn't throw a bullpen. Instead did some long tossing. His thinking, as he explained it to me on the pregame show, is that he was getting into a bad habit of throwing to the pitcher as opposed to the catcher, as opposed to throwing through the catcher. And he said the long tossing strengthened his arm and taught him to throw through the catcher. So he skipped his bullpen this week and he did his long tossing, and he's hoping he gets the same kind of results tomorrow as he had on Saturday against the Pirates.
Yeah, I found it interesting, Jim, that he said he didn't want it to keep repeating bad habits going back to 2 starts ago. So that's why he skipped throwing between starts.
Yeah, and again, he said he was getting into that habit of just throwing to the catcher, which he doesn't want to do. He's a power guy. He wants to throw through the catcher.
Makes sense for you, Rick?
No question about it. And you know, we kind of identified watching Adam pitch when he wasn't pitching very well as he was just a little bit, what I'd say was wasn't as powerful in his delivery to the plate. And I think what Jim said describes it very well, the adjustment that he made. Joe Kelly making some adjustments.
Strikes out his 4th tonight, 4-2. Birds back on offense when we come back. And we turn to the Charter high-speed pitch of the night. These two starters, Joe Kelly and right-hander Tyler Thornburg. Thornburg at 94. Kelly has hit 97. Last inning looked very sharp for Joe Kelly. Kelly is due up third in this inning. Interesting to see how Mike Matheny wants to play this. You had your best inning out of Kelly, arguably the top of the fifth. He is due up third. You have expanded rosters, plenty of arms out there in the bullpen. You never know. Lately, you find out after games if someone is struggling, they'll say, for instance, Wainwright, when he had those back-to-back starts. Mike Matheny kept him in that second game to work on things and felt that he did have a little momentum going into that next start. May do that here with Kelly. Who knows? Pitch count isn't all that high.
All kinds of factors involved in this. One is the bullpen has not been overworked. Two is there's plenty of them out there, as you said. Third thing is Joe Kelly's at 89 pitches, so probably would only have one more inning anyway.
Strikeout of Cruz. The high throw, and that's strikeout number 6 tonight for Tyler Thornburg.
I think if there's a man on base, which won't be Tony Cruz at this point, but if there were a man on base with one out, you let him bunt. Keep him in the game. But I think Mike Matheny's made the decision that he's not even going to do that. He's going to bring Colton Wong in either way.
The difference in this game, Sean Halton, the first baseman of Milwaukee, was unprotected. The Rule 5 draft this past offseason. 3 RBIs so far tonight. 2 outs.
My guess is that the reason Joe Kelly had his helmet on in case 2 guys got on.
Sure.
Mike Matheny was going to let him bunt and stay in this game. But when Tony Cruz made the out, he made the decision that he's not going to wait any longer.
Wong was used as a pinch hitter last night. Hit the ball sharply to second. Five innings for Joe Kelly tonight. Here's Colton Wong, the pinch hitter for Joe. And he takes a breaking ball down and in. One ball, one strike. So the final total in pitches 94 tonight. The official count for Joe Kelly.
So here you've got 2 players. Colton Wong, who was sitting over 300, AAA All-Star. Thornburg's 0-9 with a 5.75, giving up a lot of hits to guys like Colton Wong. Now they're in the big leagues in a bit of a reversal of fortune.
That's pulled foul.
Colton's struggling, but he'll get out of it. I just think he's got too much ability. I'm not worried about him.
Rick, how much stock do you put into this final month of the season, or for Colton Wong, the final 5 to 6 weeks going into next year?
I mean, it's an opportunity, but I don't think it's everything for him. I really don't.
On a couple of hops to short, and the Cardinals go 1-2-3. 4-2. We played 5 here at Busch.
Stadium. The Southeast Missouri State Redhawks and the Southern Illinois Salukis will play in the Busch Stadium College Classic presented by Southeast Health on Saturday, September 21st. Get your tickets today at cardinals.com/football. 4-2 Milwaukee, top of the 6th. Joe Kelly is out. Beautiful night here at Busch Stadium. The Cardinals hoping to sweep the Brewers. Carlos Martinez, our Chevy call to the bullpen. He has shown flashes of brilliance. Throws very, very hard. And the last time we saw Carlos, he was pitching with a lot of confidence out of the Cardinal bullpen. Picked up a victory in extra innings and looked like a guy you couldn't wait to see again. And we're getting a chance to see him here in the 6th as Joe Kelly was pinch hit for in the bottom half of the 5th.
How much fun is spring training going to be next year with Martinez and Segrist, Rosenthal, all these different guys that are at least being talked about as potential pitchers in the rotation?
Oh, there's 7 or 8 other 16-year-olds we're going to have there.
I'm in. They're probably all throwing 100.
Can you imagine that? Yeah, of course.
What else is new at the Cardinals?
Did read a report about the lower minor leagues for the Cardinals, the A-ball rookie league team. They got a couple of guys who are flamethrowers there too, so we won't see them next spring training, but right around the corner we'll be seeing a new crop of names, and the competition just gets tougher and tougher. There's an old saying in baseball that I think people still use, players still will say it, that it's easy to get to the big leagues, it's tough to stay there.
And a ground ball that is hit to Adams.
As usually said by a veteran player to a young player who thinks they've arrived when they get here, but when you think you've arrived and you stop working, they send you back again.
And the other adage, you can't have enough pitching.
It's 100% correct. But it will be fun.
Here is Sean Halton. Halton with 3 RBIs tonight. Talked at length with John Mozeliak before our game today, Rick, and I said, what are you, and there's a very good breaking ball, as a GM, you're watching the game. And everybody has ideas of what they want to do strategically. I said, what are you doing during these games? And he said, you'd be shocked that the majority of my time is watching reactions, watching relationships, watching how individuals handle adversity inside the dugout. He said on TV, when the team is on the road, I can't do that because there's a strikeout of Halton. He said with TV, you know, you got to cover the game action. But here, the broad view of watching the game. And he said the dynamics of how hard it is to, you know, make sure that you keep guys fresh, keep the message fresh from your manager, from me to my staff. I need to watch that. Am I getting across to people? Is Mike Matheny doing that? Derek Lilliquist, his staff. Good breaking ball again.
You know, it's one of the things that surprises me about the direction of baseball to go away from advanced scouts, because there's something about a scout, and I had a long conversation with one on the last road trip, and he's one of 15 advanced scouts still active in baseball. A lot of teams are not just using video, and they're not bothering with that. And his comment was he believes, and his organization believes, that you see things by being there that you can't see otherwise.
And that's exactly what Mo is talking about. Absolutely.
And your general manager doing it, that's one thing, and that has great value and import, of course, but he can't be everywhere. So an advanced scout goes out and watches the other team for those kinds of things. Are they dragging? Is Brandon Phillips, you know, limping out to his position at second base? You're not going to see that on TV. You're not going to see that on the regular coverage. Is the attitude in the dugout right? And there's some scouts behind home plate here, some representing with their team, others incognito.
The 2-2. Swing and a miss. Good breaking ball. 2 strikeouts for Martinez. That curve is nasty. Six rolls in. Head and shoulders with package will combine the 2 that we've seen from St. Louis tonight as far as the 2 pitchers that have been on the mound. Joe Kelly. Joe Kelly gave the Cardinals 94 pitches tonight. And Kelly was able to strike out 4. And Carlos Martinez, very good breaking ball. And Rick, we see that live fastball from Martinez, but the curveball down in the minor leagues, he used to talk about that being his really good pitch, and at times it's been okay up here.
He was voted as having the best curveball in the system at one point.
That's right.
So we did not see that early on in Martinez's first couple of outings, but a couple of strikeouts on curveballs here. In fact, all those ones we saw from Joe Kelly were curveballs. So a lot of strikeouts on curves here tonight, but the Cardinals on the short end of a 4-2 game.
Now, last night, overlooked in coming back for St. Louis was Carpenter. First 2 plate appearances makes outs.
Right.
Next 2 base hits. 57th multi-hit game.
And Carpenter makes outs. Cardinals don't score. Carpenter gets hits. Cardinals score. That's been a recurring theme.
0-2 the count on Carpenter. Thornburg has struck out 6. And Matt has grounded out to short, also struck out swinging.
A very good changeup. That last delivery really fooled Carpenter way out on his front foot. You don't see that very often. He has very good ability to keep his hands back, stay back with his lower half, but totally fooled by that changeup grip and just barely tips that ball off the end of his bat.
Here's an 0-2.
Carpenter has so many stats we've talked about, and I got to say another one, 65 extra base hits. Only Jay Bruce in the National League has more extra base hits than Matt Carpenter. He was asked today about the MVP, and again, you know how I feel about that. I always feel like you have to really wait till the end of the season before you can really evaluate it. Anything before that's premature, but if I had to say it now, Do you say Carpenter or Molina in terms of the Cardinal MVP, and maybe even the league MVP? And it was a hard question to think about.
Is he getting enough, meaning Carpenter, national recognition?
Well, I talked to Joe McGrain in the MLB Network and told him my feelings about Matt Carpenter, and he was surprised. And not that he thinks he's a bad player, but in his mind, he's not getting that kind of national recognition, and probably won't.
Fly ball near the line in left. Catch is made for out number 1.
I will say I did say Yadier Molina by a nose was my answer because of what he's done with the young pitching staff.
Not sure there's a value that's placed, unfortunately, on a guy that is involved with so many plays. And, you know, Yadi is off the charts in his baseball smarts, knowing the hitters. Pitchers rarely shake him off. He's calling the game. One out, nobody on. Here's John Jay.
We find it funny you think about the pitch count that we worry about for pitchers. Well, the catcher has to throw it back every time. So you throw 110 pitches in a game, so's Yachty. Now, he's not throwing pitches. It's not the same kind of strain, but for a catcher to throw as many balls as they do over the course of a year, it's just amazing their arms stay strong the way they do. Makes me think of Tony Pena, who would play winter ball every year in the Dominican because he loved playing so much, and he would throw. He never stopped throwing all year long. For all the years he played, really never stopped.
Ouch, as Jay is hit by the pitch with 1 out here in the home half of the 6th, and he leads the club in that department. So the tying run will come to the plate in Holiday. One out and a runner at first. Up and into Holiday. Start to stir now in that Milwaukee bullpen. Hit by pitch, the most in the National League. Chu at 25. He was hit a ton early on. Starling Marte, Neil Walker, both of Pittsburgh. John Jay now at 13, and Todd Frazier. All Central Division players.
Is it something we said? Brewers have a couple of guys in the top 10 too that we didn't even get to.
Room to the right side for Holiday. They are deep. 2 balls and no strikes, and now we're starting to see some of these pitches get up. This is when the Cardinals could really do some damage. 3rd time through against Tyler Thornburg. You think that Holiday or Beltran might be able to get to him. The 2-0 pitch to Holiday. Outside, 3-0. Right-hander starts to throw in the pen. Nobody throwing in the Cardinal bullpen.
Top 10 in the National League. Only Franzen for the Phillies out of the Central Division in terms of getting hit by pitch. So this is the black and blue division.
It's the old Norris.
Yeah, there you go.
Rob Wooten is that right-hander you just saw getting loose as this crowd comes alive on 3-0. Walk to Holiday. Tying runs are on. Go-ahead run comes to the plate. Yankees, Orioles, Indians, or Royals. Which AL team has the best chance for a wild card spot? How about those Royals sneaking in? 38%. They are at Detroit this weekend. they'll go back home and host Cleveland to begin their homestand next week.
They're playing as well as any of those teams right now. There's no question about that.
Beltran last time up flied out to deep right. He's also flied out to right both times.
Cardinals have owned innings 6, 7, 8, 9 in this series. Has a feeling like that's going to continue.
As I mentioned earlier, though, Ron Reineke, Rick does not have great faith in many out there right now in his bullpen. So this has been the inning to get to Milwaukee. 1 out, 2 on. And Beltran lifts it out to right, but Aoki is there and makes the catch. Runners back to first and second. 2 down.
That was an important out for Tyler Thornburg. David Freese had a good at-bat in the 4th, a sacrifice fly. He drove it the other way after Thornburg got behind him 3-0. He's having a little control problems here. Probably on his last leg for this game. Pitch count at 92.
He started Freese off with a breaking ball in each at bat here tonight. David with an RBI, and that was number 55 back in the 4th when the Cardinals scored their 2 runs.
I think he's going to get another curveball. Struck out on a curveball in the 2nd inning. Looking. Not looked good on a breaking ball here. A couple runners aboard. I'd bet on another one.
Oh, 2 pitch.
Tried to get him to chase on that curveball in the dirt. Now he might throw one a little more tantalizingly close to the outside corner.
2-2. Adams on deck.
Really a waste pitch there. Trying to get David to chase way out of the strike zone, but really to set up this curveball. David's point of view, you can't fully look curveball because you won't catch up to the fastball if he throws it. Just have to react.
The 2-2. Inside to Freese. 3-2. Runners off for this next pitch. Big gap in left center field. Will we see Adams this inning? Pitch count at 97. On 3-2, it's pulled foul. Big pitch in this game right here. Another 3-2 delivery. Freese hits it on the ground to Ramirez. Cardinals strand 2. They have stranded 3 on the night. 4-2 Milwaukee. Cardinals news, and tonight Stan McNeil profiles local boy and big-time Brewers prospect Johnny Helwig. And you can read all about Johnny at foxsportsmidwest.com. Also, Rick, there's an article by Ken Rosenthal posted saying that Dave Duncan potentially wants to get back in the game.
How about that?
Ken reporting that Dave's not sure he wants to come back as a pitching coach, but he said, I know what my strengths are, and I'm getting the itch a little bit to come back. He said that towards the end of his tenure as a pitching coach, it became a grind, wasn't enjoying it, so he stepped away to be with his wife Janine, and we know that Chris has been battling his own health issues, and Chris has done just a great job locally in the media.
If Dave Duncan wants to come back and be some kind of special advisor or whatever role he may want to be in baseball, there will be 30 teams calling him.
I would think so. Thornburg is done tonight. Second inning of work for Martinez. Juan Francisco at the plate.
Pretty good first inning for Carlos Martinez. I say pretty good, a lot better than that. A little ground ball to the right side, a couple of strikeouts. And he was facing the part of the order that actually hit Joe Kelly pretty well. There were 4 hits among those 3 that he retired last inning.
One and two the count on Francisco. He's got good power, 18 home runs. And yet Jay very shallow in center. A fly ball that's lifted out to left. That'll stay in the ballpark. His Holiday is there. Out number 1 here at the top of the 7th. Well, we see Michael Blazek pitch in this series. The former St. Louis Cardinal that the Redbirds traded away to pick up John Axford.
Looking forward to watching him pitch.
Here's Aoki. He'll drop down a bunt. Martinez bare hands and throws a strike to first.
How about that?
Cardinals have controlled Aoki in this series. He is 0 for 3 with a walk tonight.
A less athletic pitcher does not make this play. He hops on this ball. Look how quickly he gets from the mound to that baseball. I mean, that's speed. And he throws a aspirin tablet at poor Matt Adams.
Can't feel his hand right now.
Who can't feel his hand. And he was also having trouble with Joe Kelly's pickoff move early on because the ball was moving so much. One of them resulted in a Kelly error. But Matt's had a workout.
Adams will lead it off for the Cardinals in the home half of the 7th. Scooter Gennett with 2 outs, nobody on, and a liner that is past Matt Carpenter and into right field. Our crowd tonight, 35,208, 35208. First base hit allowed by Martinez.
More first responders again at the ballpark tonight. We had a number here last night commemorating September 11th. The Cardinals issued close to 8,000 tickets, I believe, last night to first responders, and that same opportunity was open here tonight. We're just so glad they could be a part of Cardinal baseball.
Pittsburgh has posted a win over Chicago. Jeff Locke gets his first win in nearly 2 months. 3 hits over 7 innings. There's a swing and a miss by Jonathan Lucroy. With a soft liner to center field back in the first. Flied out to right. Grounded back to the pitcher.
Cardinals announcing the actual number of first responders here at the ballpark tonight, 8,658.
Do you remember when Joaquin Andujar first came up and he was not in St. Louis? He was with Houston. Our friend Bob Netherton on Twitter says, and Bob is really good about understanding Cardinal history, especially the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And He said Martinez reminds him of Joaquin Andujar.
I can see some similarities.
1-1 is hit past Kozma into shallow left now off his glove. Slowed it up just a bit. Holiday has to race in. Runners at the corners. Base hit. And for our younger viewers, what are those similarities?
Well, I don't. They have different stuff completely. But there's something about their delivery that reminds me of Andujar, and that hit into left field. It's more deliberate. I mean, Joaquin was a slider pitcher. He threw fastball slider. He threw a little more 3/4, but kind of a similar way of, maybe it's the fastness of the motion, very quick motion of the plate. Reminds me of Andujar, all kind of full body, full effort.
Back-to-back hits. And Martinez should get out of it. Fly ball into shallow right center. There's Jay. Time to stretch. Matt Adams leads it off when we come back. 2 scoreless innings for Carlos Martinez. Union Station Hotel, the only hotels that give you home field advantage and an extraordinary Cardinals baseball experience. For reservations and info, call 314-421-1776 or visit HiltonSt.Louis.com. Once again, making sure that we get on the air and make some kind of a semblance of making sense, which is hard to do. It's our Chevy call to the bullpen. Here's Rob Wooten, but our producer tonight, Mike Helling, standing director, coming up on 30 years of doing Cardinals baseball, Tom Meade, Brian McCann, jack of all trades, very, very talented, Danny Martinez, Keith O'Brien, Keith Olbermann, and Matt Adams will lead things off. Our thanks to all the men and women who make our telecast possible. They get here early, they stay late, through the heat, through the rain, through the cold weather. They are simply the best. It's Adams, Cruz, and Kozma against Rob Wooten. And Wooten comes out of the pen. It's up to this bullpen for Milwaukee to hold a 2-run lead. Last pitched Saturday at Chicago, 1 inning, 1 hit, 1 strikeout. Inside to Adams, almost hit him. Started his Brewers career with 10 scoreless innings. Only other Brewer to do that, Mike Adams. Forget they had Mike Adams.
That's right.
He's really turned out over the last couple of years to be a solid reliever. One ball, one strike. Shift on for Adams, and he's going to beat it. How about that? Fights it off. It's a base hit out to left. Just like he drew it up.
Laughing about it. You take every hit you get. You hit some line drives right at people. You hit some line drives off a wall that they call foul. And you get some blue pits.
Ricky, when you were pitching, did you ever see a shift that was that pronounced? You know, Ozzie had his own personal shifts at times, but nothing like this.
It was very rarely done. I think the understanding at the time might have been that, look, there's a reason why.
That's off the end of the bat. Gomez coming on. He'll make the catch. Back to the bag at first, Adams.
The reason why Abner Doubleday thought that'd be a good place to put the fielders, just kind of has the whole field covered, and you're better off having the areas covered instead of over adjusting to the tendency of a hitter. But I think baseball's figured out that you can get an advantage. Now you create some holes when you do it, but they're holes you think they can't find.
Descalso had the big base hit. They were playing off the line last night with Ramirez. Let's see if they do that here. Kinsler, a sinker baller, and Daniel did a really good job of hitting it the other way and picking up a base hit.
Off the line again is Ramirez. So they don't believe he's going to hit another ball down that line.
Tried to go down the first base line and pulled it just a bit foul. Strike one. In the course of a season, you think about role players, if you will, and I don't know if you'd call Daniel a role player in the sense that he only comes up to pinch hit, because he's had a vital role of being a shortstop with Cosma's struggles. But man, you have to have those winning players, and Descalso can't believe that was called a strike. It's 0-2, and Daniel, without question, is a winning ball player.
Yeah, you're around him at any period of time, and you find out just how solid a baseball guy he is. Does he think that's a strike? Oh, my goodness.
Man, oh, man. 0-2, rolls over on it. And Adams is out. Descalso is safe. Couldn't get it out of the glove. Jeanette. That called made by Tom Hallion. Nearly a double play.
Decision the second baseman has to make. Does he flip it? Does he try to tag and throw? And tag clearly made, and the drop in the transfer. But Adams can't stop at this point. He is tagged. Heads up play by Jeanette. Almost got to.
So the Cardinals are through their hitters from the left side off their bench. Descalso pinch hitting for Cosma. And now Chambers pinch hitting for Carlos Martinez. Quick scouting report here on Chambers.
Runs well, kind of I would say a slap hitter to a degree. I think he likes to hit the ball the other way. He had a big hit against the Pittsburgh Pirates in extra innings, and that's really kind of been his moment this year. He's had other moments in his brief time with the Cardinals, and we like what he's done defensively in terms of the advancements there. But when you run well, hit the ball on the ground and take off. And Chambers really struggled out of the gate this year. I think he was disappointed he didn't make the team.
Put a lot of pressure on himself.
And he could not kind of overcome that. He's such a positive guy generally, and he just kind of felt for that early slump. But he was as hot as anybody in July and August.
2 outs, runner at first, and Chambers swing and a miss. A changeup at 84 miles an hour. With Busch Stadium in St. Louis, 76 degrees, very comfortable tonight. Dan, Rick, and Jim with you and our Fox Sports Midwest crew. Strike two. A 4-2 Milwaukee lead. Tying run at the plate here in the home half of the seventh. 0-2 the count. And a strikeout of Chambers on 3 pitches. We have played 7 here at Busch Stadium. Cardinals have stranded 4 and they trail 4-2. Baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. Let's go to our studio and a Bomberito Sports Update with Pat Paris. Our Chevy call to the pen brings us to Seth Maness. In relief of Martinez, had a couple of pitches clocked at 101 on the gun. A couple of nasty curveballs as well by Martinez in that 6th inning to strike out Holton, Bianchi. And Maness gets Gomez, Schaefer, and Holton. Holton has 3 of the 4 RBIs tonight for Milwaukee. And that pitch is taken for a strike, and we're underway here in the 8th inning. Brewers, they have out-hit the Cardinals 9-4. Quickly, no balls and 2 strikes. Gomez has struck out, singled and scored, and then struck out again in the 5th. Outfield is straight away, and pitch in the dirt. Ground ball to second. Carpenter makes the play, gets the speedy Gonzalez. Yes, I did say the speedy Gonzalez. Logan Schaefer,
I heard you,
has singled to left and scored a run back in the 2nd. Twice he has grounded out to first. Trying to change things up, Mr. Horton.
whatever it takes. That's how rally caps were invented. Change it up.
What do I need? Speedy Gonzalez?
You have worn a rally cap before.
Absolutely. I played on a lot of losing teams.
I didn't mean to imply that, but.
And I was a part of many reasons why we were losing.
I got to get your stats at some point.
Oh, please no.
I got to get a hold of those. I think I could use those in a lot of ways.
you and I all of a sudden would turn into best friends. I think that you're the greatest broadcaster I've ever heard in my life.
And you'd never pick on any of my particular bad games because you'd know I would have a trump card.
I didn't know you had anything that was in a negative fashion towards you, Horton.
Oh, you're just buttering me up so I don't go look up your college
Please
stats.
don't do it.
I can find your coaches.
I don't know about one of them. He's strange back then, too. 2 outs, and here is Halton. So Gomez grounded out to second. Schaefer, a fly ball out and left, and time is called. The ball got out of the Brewers' pen.
It was an emphatic call, wasn't it, by Chris Guccione?
I thought that was like a bowl of spaghetti and meatballs from Paul Manos he was running after.
I think that's funny, and I don't even understand it.
Oh, man. You know, Rick, it is game number 146 here tonight.
Try something different. I'm with you. Let's see. What else could we do?
Cardinals will have the top of the order coming up.
Somebody's got to have a rally cap in this. We're going to find some rally caps next inning. Don't you think somebody will have one?
Yes. 2-2 and a strikeout.
We'll find some.
We need a delivery for Paul Manos straight to the booth right now. Light, the sure sign of a good time. Here we go. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. Stan the Man statue. Brandon Kinsler. Chevy called with a pen, and the rally caps, I would assume they're out. There's one of them.
There it is. I think everybody else is waiting until the 9th.
Top of the lineup, it's Carpenter, Jay and Holiday.
Is that one rally cap out of 35,208 people?
One.
I don't know if rally caps work, but having Matt Carpenter bats sure seems to work.
I can't believe you took your shirt off. You don't need to go that far.
I'm turning it inside out.
This strike zone is all over the place here in the last couple of innings.
Seems to have gotten pretty wide. Home plate umpire Guccione looking into the Cardinals dugout.
Here's a 1-1.
Conversation probably going on there. The life of an umpire. Every city you go, they just love you.
The 2-1 is hit into center field, and again, third consecutive inning, the Cardinals will bring the tying run to the plate. Kinsler is their 8th inning guy. This is a pitcher that Ron Renicky has put a lot of trust in here in the second half. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Here's John Jay. Big gap in right center. And Jay hits it down the left field line, but slices out of play, foul.
Kinsler has good stuff, but the Cardinals just seem to get good at bats against him. There's a couple of games we've seen him. The Cardinals have had some hits against Kinsler. You mentioned him being the 8th inning guy, but 3 hits, 3 runs here last night. When he pitched against the Cardinals in Milwaukee, they beat him around. Reason for hope.
Jay hits a fly ball out to left. Henderson is up and throwing, the closer for Milwaukee. We have not seen him pitch in this series yet. Brings in Holiday. Matt Carpenter has reached base safely 18 straight home games.
My goal is to come up with 4 more things that Matt Carpenter is leading the league in that we haven't talked about yet. I'm sure there's something.
It's amazing. Here's Holiday. Big home run in game 1. I've had some pretty good predictions here last couple of games.
All right.
And my guy that I'm going with tonight is on deck. Now, you wouldn't think they'd have a lefty come in to face Beltran and turn him around. We'll see Carlos hit from his best side. 1-0 pitch. Holiday lines it to short, and Carpenter runs right into a double play.
the game on the post-game edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. Pat Paris and Al Roboski will be at Lumiere Place. A sloppy start puts the Cards in a hole. They'll break that down. Joe Kelly scuffles through 5. They'll break down his night. Plus, we'll have Mike Matheny's post-game comments as well. Cards down a pair. Dan and Rick, Cards have some work to do.
Certainly do, Jim, as it's now Seth Maness who takes over, or rather his second inning of work took over for Carlos Martinez and had a scoreless inning. 4-2 in favor of Milwaukee. So with Henderson, who had been up and throwing, he can sit down, relax. With 2 outs, you'll see him pop up, maybe make a couple of more tosses, and he's ready to roll. Cardinals will have Beltran, Freese, and Adams due up.
Don't want to throw too much as a closer. Saw where Edward Mujica kind of admitted that he ran into that problem recently where he threw too much getting ready to come into a game and wasn't sharp. Said he left everything in the bullpen.
Really is a fine line, isn't it?
Said he felt so good, he just figured, well, I'll just throw a few more. But in fact, that was a game we were talking about, how long he'd been up. Now, he was holding the ball a lot of that time. But over the passage of time, it's just tough to just continue to just stand there without feeling like you want to throw 3 or 4 more pitches.
Generally speaking, Rick, how long does it take for a guy to get loose?
The starting pitcher throws, I guess I can only say for me, because I actually would almost count him.
Freese makes the play.
We'd have a counter. The coach would have a counter for you. It'd be right at about 50 when I would start. 50 pitches that I would throw. In the bullpen, it would be more like 20. 20 pitches, you're ready. Jake Westbrook in the bullpen has been a starter, so he's been used to 50. So it would take him a little bit longer. If you're going to use Jake in a long relief situation, you want to give him a couple of batters to make sure he has time.
Betancourt drops it in for a base hit.
I always used to like to think about it as batters, Dan. So if it was the 3rd batter in the inning, when the 1st batter was up, I had plenty of time to get ready for the 3rd hitter. So it was 2 batters later.
And Mike Matheny will go to his bullpen here. With the lefty Segrist throwing and loose in the pen. That'll be it for Seth Maness, and here comes Segrist when we come back. It's 4-2. And Sean Halton with our Nissan drive of the game. Only extra base hit by Milwaukee tonight. Cardinals have 1 extra base hit, a double by Holiday midway through.
10-hit night for Milwaukee, however. Kevin Segrist, the lefty, has been terrific out of the Cardinals bullpen. His whip .80. That's less than one runner on base per inning pitched, which is an incredible number. And his velocity's great, changeup outstanding. He has become quite a weapon.
Kyle Loesch, a lot of baseball folks thought he would be on the move. Wanted by many teams. Cardinals don't face him, obviously, in this series. And Felix Hernandez, King Felix, Cardinals will miss him.
Well, we'll get to
Seattle
see
Mariners.
him. We'll see him on the bench.
We'll see him, just not on the mound.
If we want to see him, we'll just go and say hi to him.
It's fine by me, and I'm sure it's fine by the Cardinal hitters, too. It's sharply into center field by Aoki. That'll go all the way to the wall. Betancourt will score. Aoki has himself an RBI triple. And it's 5-2. That's charged to Seth Maness.
Cardinals bullpen has been very good at stranding runners as well. Leaving runners out there, inherited runners, best in baseball, but one scores here as Aoki smokes this ball up the middle, and it has such good topspin on it, it just keeps working its way all the way to the wall past John Jay.
We're shocked when we see a ball hit that hard off of Segrist.
Right.
The luxury of a guy like Segrist is that this becomes an appearance. It's not just going to face the lefty, but you can keep him out there, and it's been good against lefties and righties. A rare base hit against Segrist, and it's done by a lefty. Left-handers came in 4 for 53 against him. ERA of 0 still at home. That's in jeopardy. But right-handers were 6 for 52.
You know who the first baseball player to ever talk into his glove was? You happen to know that one, Dan? You know a lot. I mean, you know a lot.
Well, I make up a lot, too.
Well, make something up then.
Kurt Gowdy is calling a game, and he could read lips, I guess.
Guys weren't doing that then.
Well, I don't know, Rick.
I guess I asked you the question. I trusted you. Disappointed.
This one I do not know. 1-0 pitch to Scooter Gennett, and
whoops.
Uh-oh, they had the squeeze on. Aoki tagged out by Cruz.
Good thing
Somebody
Gennett
missed the sign.
Good thing Gennett didn't hit a line drive down the third baseline.
So caught stealing.
Definite miss sign there.
0 ERA at home looks a little bit better now. Keep that intact, and that's hit out of play. 2 down. Pitch at 96 from Segrist. Two is hit sharply. Freeze with enough time to make the play. And Gennett is retired. Brewers add to their lead. It's 5-2. 5-2. St. Louis only 5 hits in this ball game. Still 3 games to go with Milwaukee. We'll be in Milwaukee next weekend. And the Cardinals have dominated the season series. Most wins in a season against Milwaukee, 13. That was in 2003. The Cardinals one shy of that.
Cardinals with the victory last night broke a string of 7 straight road series wins for the Brewers. So they've been playing well on the road. Their closer is Jim Henderson. Very good season for him. Our Chevy call to the bullpen.
Betancourt, they're singling and scoring, stays in the game at first base. So Jim Henderson comes into the ball game. Hard thrower, took over for Axford as the closer for Milwaukee. Out of Calgary, Canada.
He is not a young pitcher, but he's a rookie pitcher. 24 saves.
Been very tough on right-handers at 163 average. Lefties not much better, 216. Henderson from Canada. I was talking with Doug Melvin, the general manager. He is from Canada. Gord Ash, for a number of years, was with the Toronto Blue Jays, part of their front office. So a Canadian flavor to the Milwaukee Brewers.
30-year-old rookie, in fact.
Melvin is from right across the way, just minutes away from Detroit, Michigan, but Canadian born. 0-1 pitch. 0-2. You ever been to Calgary, Rick?
I've never been to Calgary. I love Canada, the places I've been, but never been to Calgary.
Beautiful place.
I've heard. I miss going to Montreal. We talked about that before the game.
I do too. 0-2 pitch.
Ballpark was an odd experience there, but not quite the excitement that you see in other cities at the ballpark. Not a lot of baseball fans there. But there sure are some fans here remaining that would like to see the Cardinals make this game interesting in the bottom of the ninth.
1-2, and it swung on and missed. Brings it Freeze. And El Central could be tied after the night is through.
David had started to swing the bat very well about a week or so ago. He did have a sacrifice fly here tonight, but he's now just 3 for 18 in this homestand.
Be exhibition games in Montreal next year. One ball, one strike. We would go there, the Cardinals, and Vladimir Guerrero was in the prime of his career, and no one knew just how great a player he was.
Ooh. Swing at anything.
Great arm in right field. The turf was awful, though. Really took its toll on his back and his knees. Freeze hits it out of play.
Think about the travel that a team like Montreal had to make, and now a team like Seattle has to make. Being as far to the northwest as they are, and the trips that Seattle takes every year, interleague play coming all the way to St. Louis, that's not a short flight.
not an easy thing to do, their travel schedule at all. Houston's travel schedule's gotten tougher.
Cardinals, I would say, may have it better than anybody.
Yeah. Centrally located. West Coast by about 3.5 hours, 4 hours. East Coast, couple of hours. 2-2 pitch. Hit sharply, but caught at short.
One of those days, Dan. We noticed it early on. A lot of things not going the Cardinals' way all night long.
Tyler Thornburg, our Budweiser player of the game. He was pretty good here tonight.
Just 3 hits allowed. Mixed his curveball and his changeup through the high fastball just to keep the Cardinals honest, but you wouldn't call him a great stuff guy. He just pitched well. Henderson trying to close it out. Cardinals had that very slim 1-game lead. The Pirates have won. You know the Pirates are scoreboard watching right now.
So 2 outs. Adams trying to extend the ball game. Late with that swing.
Pretty
live. Cardinals down to their final strike.
Pretty live arm for a 30-year-old rookie,
I would say. Here's the 0-2 to Matt Adams. Popped up behind home plate and out of play. On the air tomorrow at 6:30 with the pregame show. Cardinals on the verge of potentially dropping their first ball game on this homestand.
Been a very, very good homestand. Ron Renicke's club not just showing up, they came to play here tonight.
Adams blooped his single with the shift put on him his last time up. Just talked about his timing, getting back to where it was in the beginning of the season. Coincides with playing time.
Sure does.
Oh, 0-2 pitch.
We talked about a key to this game being the Cardinals jumping out on top and pressing their advantage. The early 2 runs with some sloppy Cardinal defense, just some slow play, really took that advantage away, I think, and the Brewers just kept playing.
The 2-2. And Adams hits it a ton out to deep right field. And this ball is gone. Matt Adams again. 5-3. Makes you wonder what he would do 450 to 500 at bats. Ball just jumps off his bat. Another line drive home run for Matt Adams.
And what would he do if he started every game in the 6th inning? Because that's what he's doing, hitting his home runs late. We talked about that in the open, and he does it again here tonight. Strikes out his first 2 at-bats. And yet, at the end of the day, he's got 2 hits, including a home run. And there's the home runs by inning that we talked about. 6th through 9th, 8 of them. Of the 13 home runs he's had this year.
Tony Cruz.
So you get the tying run to the plate. Who hits?
No Molina, no Craig. Descalso on deck, 2 balls, no strikes.
You've got Brock Peterson, who's got some power that we've not seen at this level. Daniel Descalso has occasional power, but you don't really have your Matt Adams on the bench right now. And that's where not having Alan Craig is a factor.
2-1.
Adams is second best pinch hitter in the National League right now. But you want him and need him at this point to play every day.
And Cruz hits a line drive into right. This should do it. The catch made by Aoki. Brewers hold on for a 5-3 win.
Was not the Cardinals' night tonight. They got behind early, a run in the first, a run in the second. The Redbirds made 2 errors. And Tyler Thornburg has another good outing. His 5th start for Milwaukee. They've all been good ones. Joe Kelly, not the Joe Kelly we've seen over the last couple of months.
Took 3 hours and 2 minutes. Cardinals win the series but drop the finale.